Disney's ABC has stunned Hollywood and political observers by abruptly pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely, a move tied to the comedian's controversial remarks about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. On Wednesday, an ABC spokesperson confirmed the decision. Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely, declining to elaborate further. Kimmel's comments that set off the uproar came during his monologue earlier in the week. Speaking about the political fallout from the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, he accused the MAGA movement of trying to manipulate the narrative around the suspected killer, Tyler Robinson. Kimmel said, "The MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it." In between the finger-pointing, there was grieving. His remarks quickly became fodder for pro-Trump websites and television programs, which began attacking Kimmel on Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, as the story picked up traction across conservative media, station owners began to push ABC for action. As Kimmel prepared to tape Wednesday night's episode in Hollywood, ABC decided to pull the plug, a decision that stunned the entertainment industry, where late-night hosts have often tested political boundaries but rarely faced such immediate corporate consequences. The decision came just hours after the Trump administration official responsible for licensing ABC's local stations publicly pressured the company to take action against Kimmel. One of the biggest players, Nexstar, which operates about 24 ABC affiliates, issued a statement condemning Kimmel's Monday night monologue. The release said, "We strongly object to Mr. Kimmel's remarks. Our ABC-affiliated stations will replace the show with other programming in their markets." President Donald Trump, however, celebrated the decision from London, where he is on a state visit. On Truth Social, he wrote, "Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. That leaves Jimmy, Fallon, and Seth, two total losers, on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it NBC." The controversy underscores how polarized the national conversation has become in the wake of Kirk's killing. Several campaigns have emerged demanding employers fire individuals who make comments perceived as unflattering toward Kirk. This is what an expert commented.
Well, this is basically cancel culture run wild, and recently people have been used to cancel culture coming from the left, and now the right has embraced cancel culture with great gusto after having complained about it for years. Your employer can fire you for any reason they like, unless it's a specific prohibited ground like race or sex. But your political beliefs or the views that you expressed on social media, in almost all places in the United States, your political views are not protected, and you could be fired for that. If you're a private sector employee and you're potentially going to get fired because of what you said on social media, I don't think you have any legal basis to contest being fired unless you have unusual protections at your job. But I think that employers should take into account that it's not necessarily a good idea for them to roll over for the cancel crowd when it comes, because they'll come for the one employee now, they'll come for another employee later. This is a never-ending process. And most of the time, if an employer just sticks by their employees, the controversy will pass, and everyone will have forgotten about this eventually. And I think it is a good idea for employers to be courageous and stick by their employees when their employees are attacked. I think that in the past, if you just said something to your friends or you said something in your private club meeting, it would be unlikely to become known to everybody. And so even if you could have gotten fired for it, it would be a lot less likely. Now, when you're on social media, you should assume that everything you say on social media is going to be broadcast to the entire world, and everybody who has an axe to grind is going to become aware of it. So now there's this whole canceling movement of people who are putting together databases of anyone who said they're glad that Charlie Kirk is dead and actually trying to get them fired. Well, there's a basic difference between people who work for the government in the public sector versus people who work in the private sector. So if you work in the public sector, you're working for government and you're protected by the First Amendment. You do have free speech rights. But the Supreme Court has never said those free speech rights are absolute. If you're saying things on the job, then you have a lot less protection. If you're saying things at home, on your own time, on your own Twitter, you have a lot more protection. But unfortunately, governments can still fire you if it if what you did raises enough controversy that they think it interferes with your job. Unfortunately, the so-called heckler's veto, even if the only interference is that there are some people who are outraged or some bullies who want to make it an issue and they bring it into your workplace, even if that's the only disruption, that could be enough for the government to fire you. So even though you have First Amendment rights, it may not provide as much protection to you as you hope. Yeah, so if you're a public school teacher in the public school system, you're working for the state government, and you're protected by the First Amendment, but if there are some people who want to make it an issue and who put your name on the headlines and protest in front of your school, then you do have First Amendment rights, but your employer, the school district, might decide that this makes you less effective as a teacher and might think that it's better to roll over for the bullies rather than to have your back and protect you. So unfortunately, those sorts of teachers, they do have First Amendment rights, but it doesn't always protect them.